Well, hi guys again. It's great having these little talks together. And today it's going to be rather unusual because, as you know, the last two talks I've given has been about economics. I don't normally talk much about economics. I write about it and I write articles and put it on my website, but because of the urgency of the world situation, that's what has caused me to make two talks on economics. And of course, the hope of all of us is that the financial crash won't happen this year. Nothing terrible will happen on the 24th of September, as seemed to be indicated by one of the German ministers in the German parliament, without giving any details, of course. Could be just mere speculation, of course. Anyway, we're not worried about what could happen because we have the power of God on our side. We have prayer. God is the one who takes care of us. And I'm mentioning that today for a reason. You probably noticed from my 8 books that some have been about the paranormal, and some about the miraculous, and some about supernatural. Well, something odd happened, and which is on the line of the paranormal and supernatural. And it just happened to me very recently, in the last day or two. As I was giving my first class, I think it was, the first class in economics, I'm 70 years old, so I'm in the habit of having short naps, and just for half an hour, and then it gives me strength back to my brain, and I'm able to function again. Of course, I use the computer quite a bit, being a writer and an author, but I'm having to limit that now. But anyway, I'm not one who is given to having fancy dreams or prophetic dreams or anything. Nevertheless, I have to report this because this was so real. And maybe you'll get some interpretation on what I got. All I can do is just tell you what I saw, because anyway, a couple of days ago I was quite tired after I'd done that first class on economics, and about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in the UK, I just lay down on the pillow, and I'd no sooner lay down on the pillow, and suddenly I wasn't here. I was suddenly high up in the air. And just to let you know, when I was young, I myself was training to be a fighter pilot in the RAF. I was about 19. And I like flying planes, but I just decided I didn't want to kill people, so I didn't continue in the RAF. Nevertheless, suddenly, as I was just going to sleep, suddenly I was in the air, and I saw one of these World War II, and I can't explain why, a World War II bomber, one of these massive aircraft, one of those old ones that got lots of windows and lots of propellers, and gunner at the back, gunner in the front, something like from about 1945, something that maybe slightly later, late 40s, early 50s, a big bomber aircraft. Anyway, I was seeing it, and it was coming down, and it seemed to be out of control or flying too low. And then I heard a voice saying, "He's flying under the radar," whatever that means. And what I do know about that is, in World War II, and you probably saw if you saw the Dam Busters movie, in order to fool the enemy, they would fly their bomber aircraft so low down, basically just skimming the tops of the water, that it couldn't be detected by the enemy's radar. And they'd blow up the enemy's biggest fortifications. In the case of the Dam Busters, blew up the dams of the Germans. Anyway, in the dream of now, it was so real. I often poo-poo dreams, and I sort of bat them out of my head, and I say, "Oh, what foolishness and silly dreaming," because we all have dreams, And most of the time I think that they're senseless and pointless, and I just wonder what on earth I have dumb dream like that for? But on this occasion it was different. And this occasion it was so vivid, and I'm not an artist, but it was so real. It was like I was there, high up in the air, hovering there, watching this aircraft coming down out of control. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And then I heard a voice say, it's flying below the radar. It's a bomber. It's full of bombs, and it's going to blow up their fortifications. They won't even see it coming because it's flying under the radar. That's all I got, but that's what I saw. I felt it. It was unbelievably real. And then I woke up with a start. Oh, that was vivid. Oh, what's that all about? And then I just dismissed it as just a dream at first. And then suddenly I went back to sleep again. All of this within a half an hour period, because I only normally have a nap for half an hour. I go back to sleep, and all of a sudden, in front of me there's a small fridge freezer. All I can say is a portable one. Yeah, about like the design of, your computer. The mainframe computers, the design of the box with all the stuff in, but bigger. Yeah, quite a bit bigger. But it was a fridge. And I was opening it and putting in a cheese sandwich inside of it. And all of a sudden I perceived and noticed somebody next to me was doing the same thing. And then I realized there must be another fridge identical right next to me. But as I'm not used to receiving dreams and visions, like I said, I normally treat them as if they're relevant or if they're just coincidence or they're just there. And I don't like the disconnectedness of dreams. Often I'll wake up, oh, thank God I'm back in this physical reality where I can touch things and everything's explainable. Somewhat to that degree. But now I realize I'm wrong. I've been wrong. I now believe that dreams are important. Especially dreams like the one I just had, the two dreams I just had. And I discussed it with my wife, and I recorded it. We discussed it. And what on earth could all this mean? And all I can say in the second dream with the fridge, those are the kind of fridges you'd probably put in something that's mobile, like a camper or something like that. In other words, you're moving away, you're getting away from something. And my example of putting something into that small fridge caused somebody else to be doing it. Now, my dream, what I was doing was I was sort of batting the idea that there was somebody next to me doing the same thing. I guess that's what I'm used to doing in dreams. I'm used to kind of like poo-pooing the dream or trying to get out the dream or something. But in talking with my wife, I realized I've made a big mistake. Maybe the spirit world and God himself has been trying to show me things, and I haven't been willing to receive it in the past. Because, as we all know, we all get dreams that seem senseless and meaningless and hardly remember them. And to me, a lot of dreams are just like bits and pieces of things, or sometimes like watching a movie, but not real. But these two experiences were very real. It was different. I was there. And like I said, I'm no artist. I can't make these things up. I don't believe there is such a thing as original thought of imagination making things up, and I don't think so. I think we're more like a TV that receives signals because you've got an antenna and you get signals from the spirit world. And that's what I got on this occasion. As we've been talking about economics and the crashing world system, I now believe that that's what the aircraft there, the Second World War bomber, or say early 50s bomber, the fact that it was crashing, the fact that it was loaded with bombs, and it was going to destroy something, the financial system, and it was under the radar. What this is showing me is that the financial crash, is not something just accidental. It's not just a result of coincidence and many things. No, it's controlled. It's under the radar. It's done deliberately. But who's it going to destroy? Well, probably the financial system, the banks and the businesses, all that. But I want to tell you that dream is so real. That's why I'm telling you I wouldn't dare tell you my dreams or vision, because normally I don't see any significance in them. But this one, I was actually there. I can't explain it. It's like One second you got your head on the pillow, and the next second you're right there in the air and you're seeing this thing, and it's just as real as this life. That's the only way I can put it. And same with those second vision. One of the two fridges. It was so real. But I wasn't used to getting things so clear. So like I said, I tried to bat out the guy next to me who was trying to imitate me, and without realizing, why are you doing that? Why? And I knew it was just my old habit of minimizing dreams and trying to get out them and get back to the physical reality. But I won't do that anymore. Because if God's trying to show me something, then I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to poo-poo dreams or even visions. And those of you who have read my books or even listened to some of my audios, you will know that I have had already quite a few paranormal experiences. I've seen angels on different occasions. I've seen men in black, or man and woman in black in Edinburgh one time. I've seen things that others can't see. I don't know why I have this gift. Sometimes you might say it's a bit annoying, because sometimes I got sick afterwards, like when I've seen UFOs. Sometimes I got sick afterwards. But this other day, after talking to you about economics, I suddenly saw that clear as crystal. I was hovering in the air, and there was a World War II or early 50s, 1950s, massive bomber with propellers, lots of windows in it. And it was coming in low. It shouldn't fly like that. You normally try to keep your plane on a level, but this was tilted downwards. I thought, oh my God, that's in trouble, that aeroplane. Whoa, what's it doing? Where's it going? And then I just heard clearly somebody say, it's flying under the radar. I thought, oh my God. And then just recently this morning I was thinking, I heard about that, movie The Dam Busters. That's what they did. They got under the enemy's radar undetected by flying just above the water. And then I was thinking, well, why didn't I see like a stealth aircraft, like a modern aircraft that can make itself invisible to radar? So why not something more sophisticated like that? There has to be a reason. Why was it an old-fashioned aircraft? I'm not sure I know. Except I'll tell you this much I do know about the paranormal. If it was an aircraft from, say, the end of the Second World War, there was a very strange things happened in the Second World War. In 1943, we had the Philadelphia experiment, and in 1947, you had the Roswell UFO landing. Those two events, and the war ended in between, 1945. I don't think that's a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. Those wars that man has fought, they open doors, because wars are like human sacrifices to the satanic world. That's the way I see it, and many others do too. And they open portals. Things started happening that shouldn't happen. Now, I don't know whether me seeing a massive old-fashioned bomber with propellers like that, rather than the stealth aircraft today, they could probably do the same job. But anyway, the whole idea was they weren't expecting it. They weren't expecting that, and that's why it destroyed them. They weren't expecting it to happen like that, and it destroyed them. Now, who it destroys, I don't know. Is it the financial system? Or is it, as I've suggested in my last audio on economics, somebody's going to take down the Illuminati? I'm sure of that. These cocky bastards who think they rule the planet, like the Schwabs and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and countless other ones like him, Club of 300 and God knows who the rest of them are. But these devils that rule the planet, and they are billionaires and trillionaires, they think they're invincible. And they're so cocky and so arrogant. But it's my conviction somebody is going to take them out. And if that's true, it means that somebody's been studying them for a long time. And what tends to happen, these things have happened throughout history. You'll find that a king's top general studies the kingdom and then turns against the kingdom, then becomes the leader of the next kingdom. This sort of thing. And you look through history, look at all the world governments from Egypt, through Assyria, through Babylon, through Media-Persia, through Greece, through Rome. And these things happened. The king's right-hand man became his biggest enemy. Look at Solomon. He had one of his generals, Jeroboam, and Jeroboam became the king of the 10 northern tribes, turned against Solomon. Why? Because Solomon went astray. So, I believe that don't worry about these Illuminati who seem so cocky and invincible, like that stupid Schwab guy telling us, you know, you're going to be eating bugs soon and you're going to have nothing, own nothing, and be happy. Sure we are. Who can be happy having nothing? It's a dumb statement. And I do believe there is a new power. Just like the Greeks was a new power that destroyed the Medo-Persian Empire, even though they only had 1/10 of the military power. Somebody has studied these people that rule, doesn't like them, is determined to take them out. And I'm wondering if that's what my dream is talking about. That they're going to be taken out. The only one I know who's powerful enough to do that, according to the Bible, is the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist does not behave the way the powers do that run the West today. Completely idiotic and stupid and like morons running the West. The Antichrist is not like that. The Antichrist is totally different. But I think, as many military strategists would tell you from the Chinese, in ancient Chinese culture, to strategists like General Patton, they'll all tell you the same thing. Study your enemy. That's how George Patton, General George Patton, 5-star general of state, how did he defeat the almost invincible Rommel in North Africa, in the Battle of the Bulge, and in Western Europe? How did he do it? Because he studied Rommel's books. Rommel wrote down how he conquered. So Patton read his books, and then he defeated him. So this is the problem about arrogant people. They often let the world know what they're planning to do in their arrogance. It's pretty stupid. It's like the villain in the Superman hero, you know, Superman stories, you know. The villain comes along, thinks he's invincible, ties up Superman with some kryptonite, and and you know what I'm going to do next? Yeah, I'm going to go and kill all that people over there. He tells Superman exactly what he's about to do. But what he doesn't know is Superman has some secret weapon of which he gets the chains off, gets away from the kryptonite or whatever it is, and defeats the villain again. Well, I think that is the downfall of the arrogant and the elite that rule today. Don't worry about them. They're a passing smoke in our eyes. You know, they are going to be coming down. And some new power is going to take over, which according to the Bible, if you read the book of Daniel, this guy, initially, he's Mr. Nice Guy. We all know, yes, if it's the Antichrist, eventually turns very bad and worse than any dictator in history, but they often start off as Mr. Nice Guy. You study about Adolf Hitler in the early 30s, what he promised to the German people, Mr. Nice Guy. But then he turned progressively evil. I think it's arrogance and pride goes to their head, and they change from good to evil. But it's happened all through history. It's nothing new. And it'll be the same with the coming Antichrist. The coming Antichrist is going to wipe out those that rule. You look in the book of Daniel. He shall destroy them which put him in power. That's what it says. You know, he's going to destroy the Illuminati. He's going to destroy the powers that be. They think they're invincible, but they're not. Their days are numbered because they made their name to stink so bad, nobody likes them. And the devil doesn't want that, and his son, the Antichrist, doesn't want that either. It's a spiritual thing. But I'll say this, if you put your trust in Satan, it's like in Star Trek with the Klingons. How do the Klingons get to power? By killing one another. So it's like, don't think that all the Satanists are friends of each other. Oh no, they'll destroy each other if they have to. Just like the Klingons in Star Trek. It's a good illustration, that one, in Star Trek. But I just want to get back to that dream I had there, because I believe it must mean something. Maybe some of you will get some ideas what that could mean. Why an old-fashioned bomber coming down out the sky and being under control, and I get a voice saying, it's flying under the radar, it's going to destroy them. What exactly that's talking about, I couldn't tell you. Is it the financial system, or is it talking about the powers that be? I don't know. But all I'm telling you is very vivid. And the second dream too, seeing that fridge. I've never seen a fridge quite like that, sort of narrow fridge. The only thing I can get from is people need to realize the electricity may go off. The gas might be turned off. And what I've been studying recently is how to get hold of your own electricity. You can actually buy, quite cheaply, some mini solar panels, and you can buy your own generator. And you can get enough electricity there to at least run with me, one of the most important things is my computer. You've got enough electricity to run your laptop, recharge your mobile phone, and maybe run a little heater, and, strangely enough, run a little fridge. So I would like to advise people, even if the crash happens this October, I know that doesn't give us much time. There's a lot of things I'd like to have on my hands, like some of the things I just mentioned. But I saw in the UK you can actually get a solar panel for about £150. You can get a generator for about £170. So for around about £300 you could get a solar panel and a little generator that would give you some electricity. At least you could keep functioning. You wouldn't be totally out of whack just because they turn off the electricity and the gas. What we got to find out, ladies and gentlemen, is how can we heat our houses? How can we stay warm? And how can we have enough light? How can we maybe run our computers enough so we can still communicate? Of course, you'd say to me, yeah, but look, if electricity's off, what about the internet? That'll probably be off as well. Well, I think there are some simple things we can do to at least have a minimum amount of electricity left in our houses in case the system goes down. I'm not saying it is going to completely go down, but you know as well as I do, there's all kind of things that can knock the electricity. All kind of things can make that be switched off. All kind of attacks on the electrical system. Hopefully it won't be that bad. Let's just hope that, okay, there might be a financial crash this October, like 2008. But let's just hope that it doesn't affect all of us to the degree that's predicted by some. But I would say to people, do what you can. It's like I'm in a position myself, I don't have lots of money either. I'd like to get hold of a whole bunch of devices, but I don't have lots of money myself. So I'm just going to get some more food in the house. So I'll go out and buy extra food, extra water. I would say, though, in going around, yesterday we went around some like big warehouses of food and that, and I just felt like, why would I buy this stuff? It's all processed. It's not even good for people anyway. And I look out here in my garden, I think, you're probably better off just if you have to eat more vegetables, if you have to eat more fruits or, something that's got real nutrition in it, rather than all that processed food that is pushed on people out there. And now I notice they've been jacking the prices up. They're double what they were last time I saw the prices. I think we're going to have to eat less, and we're going to have to eat more quality food, like Mike Adams would also say, who lives in the country there in Texas. He has a lot of very good suggestions, by the way, on Mike Adams or naturalnews.com. Lots of natural things you can do. Of course, it's different in the States than in the UK and other countries. Each country has its unique crops. So I think you just have to adapt it to your situation. Well, I think down in Africa, for example, they got it made. They got wonderful climate down there, and I've been told, you got things growing all the time. So for them, it's probably a lot easier than us here in the West, where I think it's going to be tough because of the cold winter coming. But you don't need a lot of food. You don't need a lot of heating. You just need some. So we don't have to panic just because everything suddenly goes down, including the economic system, the banks closing, worst case scenario. People lose their jobs by the millions, etc. But there are small things we can do, even if you don't have much money. Just make sure you've got extra bottles of water. And if you have to, tin goods, fruit and vegetables. A bicycle's handy, as I said yesterday. Get what you can while you can, but don't take it lightly. I do think we're going to either see a financial adjustment, as the economists would put, or it's going to be more serious than that, and not just affect the rich like in 2008 with the Wall Street or the dot-com business in 2001, but I think it could be like 1929 when it's done deliberately, like that crashing aircraft, done deliberately to break the financial system. And no, most people don't see it coming because they don't want to see it. Like I said, the sad thing we have is most people won't listen because they live in their little bubble of their make-believe world of how they want things to be while they're on the earth, and they don't see that's not reality. You've got to face up to some realities in life, and one of them is those ruling the planet are insidious. They're evil. They're not here for our well-being. Oh, that's enough from me. Today I was just wanted to mention these dreams I had because they were so real. I wouldn't normally do this, but because they're so real, if anybody gets any interpretations from what I saw, I don't fully understand myself, but it felt so real, I thought I'd better tell people, just in case it is relevant to this financial crash that many believe is going to happen. Some have said something will happen on September 24th. They also mentioned the 25th and 26th. But normally financial crashes happen in Octobers. Well, I wish you all well. Just keep praying and keep reading God's Word. Hang on to Jesus and you won't go far wrong. Bye for now. And also don't forget, and I keep forgetting to say this, apart from survival and food, make sure you've got some good books to read. Because if suddenly you've got no electricity, well, you might say, yeah, I've got no electricity, I won't be able to read anything, there won't be any light. Well, you'll still be able to read some of the time. But I suggest you make sure you get some books on survival. Get some books that tell you what you can eat in your country. Each country must have a book that tells about what you can eat, because you'll be surprised, like Mike Adams says, there's so many things even in your garden you can eat you didn't know you could eat. Yeah, there's loads of things you can eat. It's not pushed. They don't tell you because they want you to eat their processed food and their garbage. So get a good book that talks about survival in your country. That's what I would suggest, and do it now. Bye for now.